Well, the great question I always get from everybody, what is VRAM? Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good to see you back once again at JJ's PC Builds. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And the new subscribers I see we got, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon. Much love to you. Thank you for all the love and support. Thank you for all you do right here on JJ's PC Builds. Okay, now this is getting down to the question of every time I get an email on this question, it's always the same thing. And it's the same question every time. What is VRAM? I get the same question every day, every night. You know, different people send me this question. What is VRAM? Okay, now a lot of people understand what VRAM is. Okay, VRAM is what they call video RAM for your GPU, your graphics card processing unit. Okay, your GPU. Okay, now I'm going to explain what video RAM is. Video RAM is commonly referenced to as VRAM. Typically, memory used in computers and other devices to store and access visual data for display purposes. Okay, so you understand that it's specifically designed to handle the demands of rendering and manipulating graphics, the videos, and other visual contents. Just to say. Video RAM serves as a dedicated memory for your graphics processing unit. We just got done discussing that. It's separate from the system's main memory, RAM. Now, that I kind of, long time ago, it used to be to where it was shared, but if it's an iGPU, it's shared. But if it's not, it's supposed to be your virtual RAM is supposed to be separate from your system RAM. So, just to let you know that. So, the primary purpose of VRAM is to provide your access, blah, blah, blah. The primary access, fast access data required by your GPU render image and video on a display. Dedicated memory is crucial for achieving smooth, efficient graphics performance. Okay, so do understand this. I had to scratch my foot, by the way. VRAM that you get on your GPU is dedicated just for the textures on your display. Has nothing to do with your FPS. So we have that clear. You can look it up wherever you want to go. It's going to tell you the same thing. It's dedicated for frame buffering, texturing, the same thing I tried to show y'all last time, where you got a triple buff. If you got nvidia, you got what they call a triple buffer, and then you got your VRAM, which buffers 10 to 15 times higher than your triple buffering. That's the reason why they leave triple buffering off, is because you already have it. It's already dedicated to the VRAM. It's already automatic. So you're already getting the buffering that you for your textures on your screen display. So basically all the textures and everything else, that's basically where your VRAM goes through. Don't get it mixed. Don't get VRAM, video RAM mixed with virtual RAM, which is virtual RAM is on your system. That's for your system RAM. That's not for your video card RAM. Now, if you go into your system and you say, "Oh, I just tweaked the VRAM in my system, to make it run faster and everything else," what'd you do? What'd you increase? You absolutely increased nothing, but giving yourself a new headache on your hard drive, causing your system to run slower. Okay, now everybody says, "Oh, system RAM ain't everything," and this and that. Yes, system RAM is everything. The faster the clocks on your system RAM, the faster your computer, your processor is going to run. More efficient run. So, where your FPS comes from is from your system RAM. I'm going to prove that to you in a moment. So this way we can get this clear, where the VRAM and the system RAM are two different things. Now, your VRAM does not control your FPS. I don't know how many times I've tried to tell everybody, make sure you got your drinks and snacks. How many times I tried to tell people, VRAM does not control your FPS. That's not where it is. That gives you texture and, from artifacting and stuff like that. It separates that and, it controls your screen in a different way. It has a hand in, working together with your system RAM. But, with your video RAM, that's a little bit different. Textures, improvement on your textures and everything else gives you what they call, your RAM. You get different types. You get graphic double data rates, and you got the HBM. You got high bandwidth memory, and going on so forth and so forth. Okay, now the VRAM, the more VRAM you got, is to help you with the textures and the complexity of the textures, so you get a smoother transition between your graphics card and your monitor. It's smoothing the transitions out. The textures, the 3D models, that's where it smooths. That's where your VRAM comes about. It has nothing to do with the speed of your FPS of your piece, of your games. That comes from your system RAM, which I'm going to prove to you in a minute or so. But I just wanted you all to get what the difference between the definition of video RAM and virtual RAM. I want you to know the difference between the two, so you understand that your video card, if it has 8 gigabytes of VRAM, that's video RAM. That's video texture, rendering. That's for rendering, manipulating the visuals. But that has nothing to do with your FPS. I wanted to make sure I get this point clear. And you all can argue with me all you want in the comments below, but I'm going to tell you the same thing. And I pulled this up many a times, and I even long time ago I had that same gaffe to where I said to myself, what's the purpose of video RAM if it's not connected to the system RAM? The reason is because you want a high bandwidth. The the more you separate the two so you can get a better high bandwidth off of your VRAM for your textures. Gives you a better bandwidth rate to where the textures come a lot clearer and everything else, depending on your graphics card. It all depends on your graphics card and how it's built and everything else. But it's supposed to make your visuals a lot better. You know, it's like the VRAM is used with your DLSS 3. Manipulation. What you're looking at on your screen is being manipulated by your graphics card. Now your FPS and, you know, to keep your game from stuttering, you know, that's coming from your system RAM. If you're getting micro stutters, you're getting it from your system RAM. So then maybe you need to readjust your system RAM to run smoother so you keep down the micro stutters. Okay. Nobody's doing an in-depth detailed balance of how really the graphics card works. I have yet to see anybody talk about, well, the system RAM has a hand in some of this too. I have yet to see anybody say anything about system RAM has a hand in this too. Yet. Because everybody believes that the VRAM is being controlled, you know, is the GPU is controlling it. It's all about the GPU. That's bull. You're being manipulated to think that your system RAM doesn't matter. Your motherboard doesn't matter. Well, if your motherboard doesn't matter there, bright Einsteins, then what are you going to plug your graphics card into? What do you think controls the channels? Do you think it does like a ghost? You think it's up in the air? What do you think gives you the channels? What do you think gives you the controls? What do you think has to have the flow through? Everything's got to flow through the system RAM, period. Okay? You think that the graphics card just goes from the processor to the graphics card without going through the RAM? Part of it does, but part of it doesn't. So, get it right. I just wanted y'all to understand this, you know, because I see there's a lot of skepticism, you know, about it's just too much information, you know, to give all at one time, but I'm going to give it to y'all at one time. You know, I want y'all to understand something. Your system RAM plays a part in your FPS. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the action screen. Okay. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load into Second Life and use that as an example. Use that as an example to you all. Okay? So you all can see what I'm talking about. You can do it with heaven benchmarking if you wanted to. Okay? You can do it with that. You know. But you know what? That's a better test yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to load into Heaven Benchmark. We are going to put it on Ultra. We are going to disable the multi-monitor. Anti-analyzing, I'm going to leave off. I'm going to run it for DirectX 11, 800 by 600, and I'm going to run it. So I'm going to put this up in the screen. Okay, so that way y'all see it. Now, and hopefully y'all can see the numbers right here. Everything's legit. Now I'm going to open up OCCT. That's what the flash on the screen is. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something. I'm going to bring it down to the size. Okay. Now, I want you to look where this says VRAM configuration. I set it at 100. Watch the FPS right here on Heaven Benchmark. See where it says 373, 292? Now watch. I'm going to hit the start button on OCCT. This is just for bring the VRAM down. I'm put it at 100% and I'm going to pull the VRAM to 0. So the computer has no VRAM left. Now I want you all to see this. I'm going to hit start. Watch the VRAM. See right here where it says MEM? It's pulling the maximum VRAM right now. It is pulling the maximum VRAM right now. Look at your FPS. Look at your FPS. Has absolutely nothing to do with the video RAM. Absolutely nothing to do with the video RAM. So now you see that right there. Watch my cursor. Now you see it's pulling right there at the max. Look at the FPS. It did not drop. It goes up and down. Yeah, but that's through the scenes. Do you see any artifacting? No, I don't. And this is on the RTX 4070, everybody. This is crazy. See where it says RTX 4070? Right here? Right here in the corner. Is that not crazy? And I'm pulling 100% of the VRAM. 100%. That's totally nuts. I'm pulling all the VRAM and, you know, it's still not doing anything. Okay, let me stop the test. Let me go backwards. Now, let me go here to the CPU. No, let me go to memory. If I crash, you all will know it. I am pulling 99%. I'm not going to pull it at 100%, but I'm going to pull it at 99%. Now watch the system RAM. This is the system RAM. Let's start it up. And you'll see that the system RAM, where that's going to be at. And I'm showing you right here straight up. Are you ready? Let it go through its cycle. And now here we go again. Boom. I'm pulling all the system RAM right here. Watch. 64 gigs of it, almost. There we go. We're pulling 64 gigs. Now, I have not changed the game. Nothing to the game. All I did was I pulled it down to 64 gigs of RAM. I pulled right to the max of 64 gigs of system RAM. This is system RAM right here. System RAM. Look at the memory right here. That's the VRAM. This is the system RAM. Is that not crazy? Now you all can see that your system RAM right here. Your system RAM. Right here. Look. Right here. Says it right there for you. Here. I'll pull this over really quick to show you. That's the system physical RAM. Ain't no lie, everybody. So, you know, you want to know where, and watch. Watch when I hit stop. I'm not touching nothing on the game. Watch. You see me hit the stop button right here. Boom. Watch the FPS. My mouse did not move. See, the FPS came right back up. Now look at the RAM. It dropped all the way back down to 5,660, 70, somewhere in there. Look at your FPS. Now, as a proven point, now that you understand the difference between VRAM and system RAM, what controls what coming out of your graphics card, okay, this is a good point right here. So, I'm going to close this out. I'm going to close this out. And I'm going to close OCCT out. And I'm going to come back to the main screen. And this is my conclusion. I'm not going to make this a long video today. I just want to bring this conclusion to you. Okay, number one. When it comes to your graphics card, your VRAM controls your textures, it manipulates your textures, and manipulates your screen. Does not mean it manipulates your VRAM. Your system RAM, depending on the speed, manipulates the speed of your FPS. Okay, now I just did this test so you understand very carefully, and y'all can argue with me all you want about this. I just did it right in front of you, live. Well, I can't say live. It's going to be a recording, but still, it's going to be right here in front of you. You can do the test yourself. Get OCCT. Do the same test and look on it on your screen yourself. If you do not believe me, do the test yourself. Okay. When I did the test the first time, I did it with Second Life. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way. So you're telling me my system RAM drops off my FPS? Yes. If your system RAM is not fast enough, you're going to lose FPS. Your screen can manipulate any way it wants. But as more FPS that's drawn away from it, the slower it becomes. And that's your system. The slower your system becomes, the slower your graphics card becomes. So, if you're wondering what the manipulation is on your graphics card, if you run a slow system on a high-speed graphics card, then your gameplay is going to be a lot slower. But if you run a high-speed system with a high-speed graphics card, and you use a decent monitor, hey, mine's 1080p. I'm going to admit it. I don't have a 1440p monitor doing my videos. I'm doing everything on 1080p. I can run 1080p Extreme and still have a great gameplay and be happy with what I have. Yes, I got the Ryzen 7 5700X. It's only a few dollars less from the 5800X. I should have gotten the 5800X, but I wanted the 5700X because this is one processor rarely gets talked about. Rarely gets talked about. It's always the 5800X, the 5800X 3D, or, you know, the 5600X or the 5600 or the 5500. You know, but the 5700X is the less one that gets least talked about. You know, that has any least of any competition. So I paired it up with the Asus Dual RTX 4070 because that's one everybody least don't want to talk about. So I got two of what everybody least don't want to talk about, and I'm getting great FPS and everything else off of it. So I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it on this channel. They can do whatever they want on their channel. I can care less. I'm going to do what I want on my channel. So when it comes to it, and do understand this, like I showed you again, I'm only running 3200 megahertz on my my RAM, CL16. 64 gigs of it. It's the Corsair LPX. It runs fine. Yeah, I paid $129 for the RAM. Well worth it to me. I could have went up to the 4,000, but I would have paid a lot heavier price. But that all depends on what you want. As you can see, I'm running 3200 megahertz. You know, on the okay, on the BIOS, I have it locked and set at 3200 megahertz. I have the Infinity Fabric set at 1600 megahertz. I have them locked in and they can't move anywhere. No fluctuations. Locked in. So I get solid speed from my RAM, my system RAM. My virtual RAM and my system RAM are running fine. I got enough of each. And to prove that point, I will show you when it comes to the Task Manager. So we'll run up on Task Manager and we will take and run up on the GPU. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show y'all what I got cooking. Okay, now let's go back to the action screen one more time and then we're going to go right back on it. Okay, now dedicated 12 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, GPU memory. Understand this. GPU memory. 43.9 gigabytes of GPU memory. Shared GPU memory. What nobody talks about. 31.9. Okay, so you take and add the shared memory to the dedicated memory, gives you your GPU memory. So if you take 31.9 and add, and let's get the calculator out, so this way you all will believe me. You know, I know y'all have a hard time with that. So we're going to take and we're going to put the 31.9 and we're going to add in the 12 gigabytes. And look, the 43.9 right in front of you. So now you know what your GPU memory is overall 43.9 gigabytes. Okay, now if I reduce this down to 0, which I did, this gives you nothing to run with your dedicated memory. Nothing. So that means the only thing that's going to be running barely is your textures and everything else. And then the graphics are going to start slowing on you. And they're going to run slower, then they're going to stutter, and then they're going to do all the nastiness. So, you know, your system RAM plays a big part. Your system RAM plays a big part in with your graphics card. And do understand that. Okay? You got 2.8 gigabytes of cache right there from your system RAM, which is going to be committed to the GPU, for the CPU, for the motherboard, for the RAM, you know, for everything. Just to say, for everything. It's dedicated. So you know that. And yes, I do run 64 gigs of RAM for this reason. And the reason is that reason why I don't get stuttering and everything else, and you know, everything runs fine on mine. So having 16 gigabytes of RAM's not cutting it now these days. A lot of people are saying 32 gigabytes is just enough. You know what? You know, your motherboard, if it can handle 128 gigabytes of RAM, give it 128 gigabytes of RAM. If it can handle 64, give it 64 gigabytes of RAM. Which I did. Mine can handle 128. I'm only giving it half. So once I hit it up to 128 gigabytes of RAM, the motherboard has the maximum that it can handle as far as random access memory for system RAM. So then that means it has a wide berth to do whatever it needs to do to render properly your games and everything else. So more RAM is not bad. I don't know why everybody puts it in everybody's head. More RAM is not bad. More RAM is better. You know, they put it through. Many videos I've seen, they say, "Well, RAM doesn't matter. Your system RAM doesn't matter." Well, I just proved to you right here on this video it does matter. So you can go back and watch the video again if you want. I'm just telling you, it does matter. But anyway, I'm not, like I said, I'm not making this a long video. I'm just making this a point that somebody, and I keep getting this question, asking me what's the difference between video RAM and system RAM. There it is. That's the difference between the two. So you understand and you know what's going on. So it's to help you out, and it's just a tool for you. So when you go to buy your system RAM, this gives you an idea of what kind of system RAM to buy for your motherboard, so that way you can get a better gaming advantage. Understand that. So, but if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And also, too, welcome all the new subscribers. Welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you. Thank you for all the support you show us on the channel, watching all the videos, and, staying active and, on chatting and stuff, Always a great thing, always a great thing. And make sure y'all put some positive likes on the videos. This way it'll get YouTube to show our videos out there more. But one thing I do notice about YouTube is that they're showing 10-year-old videos right now. When I'm watching videos on YouTube, they're showing videos that are 10 years old, 20 years old, and so on. Now, if your video is brand new and fresh and you can't get it out there and it can't beat a 10-year-old video, then there's a problem. So let's prove to YouTube we got what it takes here at JJ's PC Builds. But anyway, y'all, until the next time, and the next video, we will see you on the next one.